In the late 1930s, as the world's leading air forces focused entirely on faster monoplane fighters and heavy strategic bombers, a small team of German engineers in Bremen was quietly working on a machine that would completely redefine the physics of flight. Under the visionary direction of aviation pioneer Henrich Focke, they sought to conquer the ultimate challenge of aviation, vertical flight. Early attempts at helicopters had been plagued by extreme instability, violent engine torque, and uncontrollable drift. Focke's breakthrough came with a radical design. Instead of a single main rotor, his aircraft utilized two massive, three-bladed rotors mounted on steel tube outriggers extending from the left and right sides of the fuselage. The counter-rotating blades completely neutralized engine torque, providing unprecedented stability and control. This revolutionary engineering led to the creation of the Focke-Achgelis Fa 223, codenamed the Drache, or Dragon. It was a massive machine, powered by a robust 1,010 horsepower Brahmo radial engine, capable of lifting heavy cargo, carrying up to 12 troops, and flying at speeds of over 100 miles per hour. The operational capabilities of the Focke-Achgelis Dragon were far ahead of anything developed by the Allied powers during the Second World War. In early trials, the helicopter demonstrated its incredible versatility by performing complex search and rescue operations in treacherous alpine passes, recovering crashed aircrews from vertical cliffs, and lifting mountain artillery pieces and heavy ammunition directly to remote peaks that were completely inaccessible to motor vehicles. It was the world's first true military helicopter, capable of flying in weather conditions that grounded conventional fixed-wing aircraft. Yet, despite its spectacular successes, the Dragon was starved of resources. In mid-1944, Allied heavy bombers targeted the Bremen factory, obliterating the assembly lines and destroying the prototypes. Production was moved to a high-security site in Lorfheim, but constant shortages of high-quality steel and fuel meant that only around 20 aircraft were ever completed. What if the German High Command had recognized the strategic potential of rotary wing flight much earlier, protecting these assembly lines from the devastating Allied raids? In our alternative history, a visionary German leadership decentralizes helicopter production as early as 1941, shifting the assembly lines into underground caverns and hidden mountain tunnels. By the summer of 1942, over 800 operational Fa 223 helicopters are deployed to active combat units. This rotary wing revolution completely restructures the logistics of the Wehrmacht on the Eastern Front. In the vast, roadless expanses of the Russian steppe, where the muddy season known as the Rasputitsa routinely paralyzes entire panzer divisions by turning roads into rivers of thick, swallowing mud, the fleet of Dragons operates completely unimpeded. Flying low over the tree lines, these twin-rotor transport helicopters bypass the mud entirely, establishing a vertical supply bridge that delivers vital fuel, medicine, and anti-tank ammunition directly to spearhead units on the front lines, maintaining the momentum of the German offensive and preventing the devastating logistical collapses that historically doomed their campaigns. The tactical impact of this vertical mobility is felt most dramatically during the brutal encirclements of the Eastern Front. In 1942, when the Soviet Red Army launches massive pincer movements to trap entire German field armies, the Luftwaffe does not rely on vulnerable Junkers 52 transport planes that are easily shot down by Soviet fighters. Instead, hundreds of silent-running Dragon helicopters establish an invulnerable low-altitude transport web. Flying under the radar, hiding behind hills and forests, they land directly inside the pocket, evacuating thousands of wounded soldiers and resupplying the trapped forces with heavy mountain artillery and ammunition. By lifting heavy guns directly over Soviet blockades and placing them on high, fortified ridges, the German army turns these surrounded pockets into impenetrable fortresses, turning the tide of the battles and forcing the Soviet forces to exhaust their divisions in futile assaults against highly supplied, vertically reinforced defensive lines. The rotary wing threat is not confined to the Eastern Front. In the summer of 1943, as the massive Allied armada arrives off the coast of Sicily, they are met by a terrifying new tactical doctrine: helicopter-borne air assault paratroopers. Using the twin-rotor transport capabilities of the Dragon, the German military organizes elite vertical insertion search and strike commandos. Under the cover of total darkness, these massive transport helicopters fly low over the Mediterranean waves, avoiding Allied naval radar by hugging the coastline cliffs. They land silently in tight mountain passes, directly behind the Allied beachheads. These helicopter-borne paratroopers capture critical bridges, cut telephone lines, and position heavy anti-tank weapons on high ridges overlooking the landing zones before the main Allied forces can even begin their advance. This unexpected vertical flanking maneuver completely disrupts the Allied timeline, pinning British and American divisions down on the beaches and delaying the invasion of Italy for months. The Focke-Achgelis Dragon completely transforms the face of modern warfare, proving that control of the air is not just about high-speed jet fighters, but about vertical tactical flexibility. By bridging the gap between logistics and combat, the helicopter delays the Allied advance on all fronts, stretching the war into a prolonged, costly struggle. Historically, when the war ended, Allied intelligence officers frantically searched for surviving German helicopters, astonished by their advanced engineering. A single captured Fa-223 made history in September 1945 when it became the first helicopter to successfully fly across the English Channel, piloted by its German crew under British escort. The legacy of the Dragon would eventually shape the development of post-war military aviation, laying the foundation for the massive helicopter air cavalry doctrines that would dominate the Cold War. The Dragon of the Alps was a revolutionary machine that arrived too late to save the Reich, but it showed the world that the future of combat belonged to the rotors of the sky.